The Wall Street crash was considered as the most devastating stock market crash in the history of the US. It began in 1929, but it didn't end until the onset of the Second World War in 1939. This crash had many consequences. One of them is related with the economy, and the third is known with the name of the Great Depression. The American dream had become a nightmare. What was once the land of opportunity was now the land of desperation. The American people were questioning all the maxims on which they have based their lives: democracy, capitalism, and individualism. The best hope for a better life was California. Many Dust Bowl farmers packed their families into cars, tied their few possessions on the back, and sought work in the agricultural fields or cities of the West. Regarding politics, there are two presidents of the US during the 30s. The first was Herbert Hoover, a Republican who won the election in 1928. He began his presidency with an optimistic inauguration speech.
Given the chance to go forward with the policies of the last 8 years, we shall soon, with the help of God, be in sight of the day when poverty will be banished from this nation.
He saw the presidency as a vehicle for improving the conditions of all Americans by regulation and by encouraging voluntarism. But he failed due to the Wall Street crash and the Great Depression. Tens of thousands of Americans who found themselves homeless began congregating in the numerous Hoovervilles. That means disappointment and frustration with the perceived lack of assistance from the federal government. In response, Hoover and the Congress approved the Federal Home Loan Bank Act to spur new home construction and reduce foreclosures, but it was too late. In 1932, the situation was critical, and there was necessary to find solutions. That means elections. As a result of it, Franklin Delano Roosevelt became president. His policy was called New Deal. It was a complex interlocking set of programs designed to produce relief, especially for reducing unemployment, recovery of the economy, and reform, which is regulation of Wall Street, banks, and transportation. The result was that the economy was improved rapidly, from 1933 to 1937. He was president until 1945. One of the architectural symbols of the US is the Empire State Building. Its construction was part of an intense competition in New York for the title of the world's tallest building. The two other projects of the competition were the Chrysler Building, which is considered a masterpiece of Art Deco architecture, and the other the 40 Wall Street, or also known as the Trump Building. Although the economic and political situation, the 30s was considered the golden age of Hollywood. More than 50 classic films were made in this period. The most notable were Gone with the Wind and The Wizard of Oz. Also, it was the beginning of the horror films, which include many cult classics as Dracula or Frankenstein. Near the end of the decade, two of the world's most iconic superheroes and recognizable fictional characters were introduced in comic books. Superman first appeared in 1938, and Batman appeared in 1939. At the end of the decade, one of the most important events happened: the Second World War. But that's another story.
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a that I heard of once in a lullaby. Somewhere over the